This is part 2 of section 2.7. So we're talking about how to solve inequalities with just one variable. So like in the last video, what we did was we do the same operations on both sides of the inequalities, just like we do with the equations like we've been doing, combine like terms, and perform operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And to solve your inequality, we isolate the variable. And the only variable that we have looked at so far is x. Okay, so solve for x minus 7 is less than 9. So 4x minus 7 less than 9. So we just add 7 to both sides. 4x less than, okay, well 9 plus 7 is 16. Divide both sides by 4. So x is less than 16 divided by 4 is 4. Okay, so the only thing that's different between inequalities and equations is I have to be careful when I divide or multiply by a negative number because that's going to flip my sign. Otherwise, it's just like solving for equations. Okay, so let's put this on a number line. So we'll have 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Because it's just a less than symbol, we're going to have an open circle on 4. And it's pointing, this is pointing this direction, so I will point my arrow in that direction as well. That's just like a little trick that I learned when I was in college algebra. Okay, so there's it on the graph. We could have set builder notation, so squiggly line, x such that x is less than 4. Interval notation, so it's going out to negative infinity, so parentheses, negative infinity, and it goes up to 4, but does not include 4, so parentheses. Okay, 3x plus 2 greater than or equal to 7x minus 1. I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. So 2 greater than or equal to, that's going to be 4x. Going to add the 1 to both sides, so that'll be 3. And then divide both sides by 4. So 3 over 4 greater than or equal to x. And some students have a hard time when they switch the variable on the sides. So I'm going to write it as x less than or equal to 3 over 4. Notice how the smaller part is pointing towards x. Smaller part is still pointing towards x on this side. So I didn't change anything. Okay, so let's graph this on a number line. Now we know that 4 over 4 is 1. So 3 over 4 is a little bit less than 1. Okay, so we have 0. And we'll just go ahead and write 3 over 4, and then I'll write 1. That's not drawn to scale, of course. Now notice here, I have less than or equal to. So on my 3 over 4, I'm going to have a closed circle because I have that equal sign right there. Now notice it's pointing this direction. So I'm going to also point this direction. Okay, now notice that's with my x first, and then my inequality, and then my number. If I looked at this one, it looks like I should be pointing the other way, but the x needs to be first, then your inequality, and then your number, okay, for this little trick to work. Okay, so set builder notation, x such that x is less than or equal to 3 over 4, and then we're going out to negative infinity. We're going up to 3 over 4, and we are also including it, so we will have brackets for 3 over 4. Okay, now let's look at this one. I'm just going to take it a step at a time. Negative 5 times x minus 1 plus 3 less than 3x minus 4 minus 4x. So I'm going to distribute on one side and combine like terms where I can. So I'm going to distribute this negative 5 to this x and to this negative 1. So negative 5x plus 5, because a negative times a negative gives me 1, plus 3, okay, less than. I've got a 3x and a negative 4x. If I combine those, I get negative x minus 4. Okay, negative 5x and then 5 plus 3, so 8, less than negative x minus 4. Okay, I'm going to add x to both sides. So that will give me a negative 4x plus 8 less than negative 4. I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. So I have negative 4x less than negative 12. Okay, so negative 4x less than negative 12. I'm going to divide by a negative 4. So that means I need to flip my sign because I divided by a negative 4. Okay, so negative 12 divided by negative 4, that gives me 3. All right, so now we're going to graph on our number line. So I'll have 0, 1, 2, 3. Because I don't have an equal sign within my inequality, it's going to be an open circle on 3. We have an x first, then our inequality, and then our number. Okay, so this is pointing this direction. So I will go towards negative infinity. Okay, set builder. Squiggly line, x such that x is less than 3. And then interval notation, we'll have going out to negative infinity, up to 3, but not including 3. Okay, now let's try one that has a fraction in the equation. Okay, so negative x plus 4 less than 1/2 x plus 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract the 1/2 x from both sides. So now I have a negative 1 minus 1/2. If we work that over here, well, I'm going to change that negative 1 to 2 over 2. So that's negative 2 minus 1 all over 2. So negative 3 over 2. So negative 3 over 2x plus 4 less than 1. Subtract the 4. Negative 3 over 2x less than, that's going to be negative 3. And then what I'm going to do is you can either divide by a negative 3 over 2 to both sides, or you can multiply by the reciprocal. It ends up being the same thing. So I'm going to multiply times negative 2 over 3 to both sides. Okay, they cancel out over here, and negative times a negative gives me a positive, so x, positive x, less than, okay, a negative times a negative will give me a positive. This is like 3 over 1, so the 3's will cancel. So I'm left with 2. Okay, now would that be my final answer? X less than 2. Now notice, right above it, I multiplied by a negative number. So because I did that, what has to happen here is your sign needs to flip. So now it's x greater than negative 2. Okay, so if we graph this, so 0, 1, and 2, I'm going to have an open circle. And we're going to go this direction. I set builder notation, squiggly line x, such that x is greater than 2. Or we start at 2 and we're going up to positive infinity. And I'm going to have parentheses for both of those. You always have a parentheses for your infinities, whether positive or negative. But because I don't have an equal sign right here, I'm going to have parentheses for the 2 as well. Okay, now let's look at more fractions. Negative 5 over 6x less than or equal to 3 over 4 plus 8 over 3x. Now, if I want to get rid of all these fractions, what I could do is I could multiply by the LCD. So what I could get 6, 4, and 3, 2, I can get each one of those to 12. Okay, so I'm going to multiply each term by 12. Okay, so cancel here, I'm left with a 2. So this would be negative 10x less than or equal to. Cancel here, now I'm left with a 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Plus, cancel the 3, that'll cancel, and I'm left with a 4. And 4 times 8 is 32x. So I'm going to subtract 32x from both sides. So that'll give me negative 42 less than or equal to 9. And then I'm going to divide both sides by the negative 42. Now I'm dividing by a negative, so we're going to have x greater than or equal to, and this will be a negative number over here. It looks like I could take a 3 out of both of those. This is 3 times 3 is 9, and 3 times 14 is 42. So if I cancel out the 3's, I'm left with a negative 3 over 14. So let me just write that. Negative 3 over 14. Alright, so on our number line, I'll just write 0 here and negative 3 over 14. Number 1, we're going to have a closed circle because we have a greater than or equal to. So I'm going to have a closed circle on negative 3 over 14. And then it's pointing this direction. Okay, so we're going to have our arrow point that direction. And it's also saying that x is greater than this number, and this is going out to positive infinity, so we have to go that direction anyway. Alright, and set builder notation, x such that x is greater than or equal to negative 3 over 14. And then interval notation. Okay, well, we're starting at negative 3 over 14, and we're including that number, so a bracket, comma, we're going out to positive infinity, so we'll have parentheses there. Okay, and then let's look at this one. X plus 3 over 8 minus x plus 5 over 5 greater than or equal to 3 over 10. Again, I'm going to look for the LCD. So a number I can get 8, 5, and 10 to, which looks like would be 40. So for each term, I'm going to multiply by 40. So I can cancel out those fractions. Okay, cancel out an 8, 8 here, I'm left with a 5. Cancel out 5 here and here, I'm left with an 8. Cancel out a 10 here, and I'm left with a 4. So now I have 5 times x plus 3 minus 8 times x plus 5 greater than or equal to 4 times 3. Okay, distribute the 5. So 5x plus 15. Distribute that 8. Negative 8x minus 40 greater than or equal to 12. All right, combine your like terms. So 5x minus 8x is negative 3x. 15 minus 40, negative 25, greater than or equal to 12. We're going to add 25 to both sides. So negative 3x greater than or equal to 37. And then we're going to divide by negative 3. So x is now less than or equal to, this is going to be negative 37 over 3. And that can't reduce any, so this is just going to be 37 over 3. So on our number line, we'll have 0. Here's negative 37 over 3. We will have a closed circle, and our arrow is pointing this direction, so we will point our arrow that direction as well. Okay, and then set builder notation, x such that x is less than or equal to negative 37 over 3. And we're starting at negative infinity and going up to 37 over 3 and including it, so we have a bracket.